Okay, so on today's episode, I'm just going to be talking about what it was like running a business while I was in the university. So, my last episode that I released, a lot of people, one of the feedbacks I got, because I like to take feedbacks, one of the feedbacks I got was that people wanted to know what it was like, or people who knew me personally wanted to know what it was like for me running a business when I was in the university. So, that's what this episode is basically going to be about. So I think I'll just start from the basics or from the beginning, how I started the business. So when I got into school in 100 level, I, of course, like school, everybody wanted to get the first class. I can't say that I really wanted the first class, but of course I wanted to do well in school. So if first class came, fine. But I was not really all up about the first class thingy for some reason. I don't know, which is unusual because I always liked to aim high and everything. But I was not, when I got into school, I was just happy for the freedom, and I'm not really enthusiastic about making a first class credit. I was just happy that I have freedom. Not like I even really did anything with it anyways. So, but that's by the side. So I used to like making my own food because I have a very sensitive system, so I said prefer just to make my own food, and I just generally like my own food. And again, it was cheaper. Girls are broke, so you have to at least make do what you have. I had food stores, so why would I be buying food if I could just make my own food? So I used to make my food, and then one of my roommates, because I had a lot of roommates, and then one of my roommates tasted the food and she was like, this is really nice. And then people would come to visit me. 100 level, everybody wants to be your friend and everything, both guys, girls, everything. And they tasted my food and I'm like, this is really nice, this is really nice. I remember making one really nice okra soup like that. So delicious. Oh no. I still remember that okra soup today. So it had vegetables in it, it had fish, it had a lot of things. It had like little pieces of egusi and everything. So the like the soup was really nice. Some reason that the soup was nice. And my roommate was like, this is really good. That is really good. You should start a business around it. I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. At the same time, while I was in 100 level, I was making new friends. So I made a new friend and he taught me how to make cocktails. So yes, I am a mixologist, not certified, but I am a mixologist. I can make cocktails, really good ones for that matter. So I I learned how to make cocktails. So I said instead I was going to like make a business out of making cocktails. But I wasn't really sure because there's still a lot to learn with making cocktails, especially from scratch, with the fruits, with everything, smoothies to milkshakes, a lot of things I was learning from him. So and that was how I said, okay, you know what, I started with making a little flyer. I spoke to a friend, okay, please make a little flyer for me. And I called it, I think I started with the cocktails first, so I called it sip cocktails or something like that. Like, okay, make a little flyer for me, let me spread it around like my class group, WhatsApp group, and some other things like that. Let them just spread it around and see how it goes. And with time, a few people like texted me, oh, can you make cocktails for an event, can you do this, can you do that? So it started with people, mostly started with people who knew me personally. That's the first thing I think I saw, that when you're starting a business, especially in school, it mostly starts with the people around you. So you have to, let me use the word, build a wide connection. Like you have to build a wide connection. So my first real major um deal that I did in school was an association I was part of called the Tax Club. First of all, I have a confession. So one of the things that job, I felt like I really messed it up. It was a really funny thing. Okay, so I'll just give you how it went. So people who were in the Tax Club were my friends. I think they were my friends. So the heads of the committee and everything. So I spoke to them that I cook and all that. By then I'd come up with a name for my catering business as a whole. I called it the soup shop. Until now, there are some people in school or people who have even left school from some people don't even know my name. They just call me soup shop. So And so I started making, because I started with soups. I started making soups for people. I would make soups for people. So let me not get past the story. Let me continue with my first job, like major job. So I contacted, I told them I could make for their events and everything. So I said, okay, they said, what can I make? And all, like, we concluded on chicken and chips. Now, the problem was I wasn't sure about the whole quotation for how much it would cost, how much would be my profits, or anything that it would take to make chicken and chips. But I just gave them like a random estimate, because, and then they still negotiated it. So I ended up with a very bad price that wasn't going to work. So when I finally did my costing and everything, I realized that if I went for already like made chips, you know, the one you just go to the market, like supermarket, and you just pick up like that bag of chips, that I would run into a loss, like a huge loss. So I had to go for like fresh potato and chips. So I went to the market and I bought a whole bag of potatoes, Irish potatoes. My God, it was hell. Like, I had to sit down overnight and be peeling potatoes. That's my, like, I had to get my friends. I have really good friends. I had to get my friends. Shout out to my friends. If you see this, you know yourself. The people who help me peel potatoes. My roommate helped me peel potatoes. My friends helped me peel potatoes. It was hellish. I was late because I hate being late. I hate being late for an event. I was late. I was, ah, it was terrible. But I eventually delivered, and even with that, even with my work and everything, the organizers complained that the meal was not enough for people, that it was too small and a few things. I felt really bad. I felt so bad. But at the same time, when in the long run now, looking at it now, it taught me a lot of things. Fine, I was learning with people's, but I guess we were all learning, because they both, probably that was first time they were organizing events and everything. Because if you look at it, the costing that they gave for chicken and chip is ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm not going to talk about the amount or anything. I'm just going to give you like sketchy details about that. And with that, I learned my lesson. Like, I really learned my lesson. After then, if somebody contacted me and said, oh, they want to make something for an event, before I even give them cost, I'll tell them to give me time. I'll go back. I'll go and write everything that has to do with that thing. I will cost it to the last one dime, like to the last head for it. And then I will like now calculate the price and give it out. Then one thing I also realized is that like large events, like catering, like food for large events was not my thing. So I stuck to personal catering. So that was why I stuck with the name Soup Shop. Because when I even did that job, I didn't have the name Soup Shop. I just remember now that I didn't have the name Soup Shop. So that after then I realized that I had to stick with like personal catering. So that's when I decided to go with soup shop. That, okay, you know what? Let me just make soup for people, because first of all, I'm a student. I can't be catering for large events, and for one, like, it's not, I don't just have the strength for it, because that took a lot from me. I think after it, I probably feel sick after doing that very large catering. I feel sick, but I realized that I could manage like large scale cocktails better. I don't know why. Maybe because I was not beside fire or anything. So I could manage large scale like cocktails. I could do cocktails for 200, 300, 500 people, 1,000 people. I could manage it like without stress. So I decided to stick more with the cocktails thingy. And so that was how my, let me use the word, business kicked off. So I would say that for the most part, my clients, like I said, came from classmates. For example, for soup shop, I decided to do some thinking and I sat down. I was like, okay, you know what? Who are people who would prefer to buy soup? Because I looked at it that, first of all, students are not really that rich. They are broke, especially when you went to a federal university. If you went to private uni now, where a lot of people, more of the people there are, let me see, they are more well-to-do than people that went to federal university. No offense, but let's just be realistic. It's Nigeria. That's how it works. If you can afford it, you go to a private university. So, if your parents can afford it, actually. So I started with soup. So I looked at it that, okay, who are people who are most times too busy to cook their own food? So I targeted medical students. And that's why till today a lot of the people that I know or the people around me are medical students, and so I built like personal connections with them. I started to get to know them. You get, I went to, I attended maybe a few of their events, like one or two, and got to know some people and leverage on connections. Like I know, like just built a network like that based on it. And so I tried to get them to be my clients, and truth is that some of them who patronized me the most were medical students. Then I tried to do flyers, like actual flyers, and I went to, like, let me use the word, the banks around my school and some other places like that. I dropped the flyers. I got a few clients from there, and this was my style. I just decided to take only jobs only on the weekend. Like I took jobs only on the weekend. So the weekend I would go to the market, I'll cook soups for different people, and then fly back and start delivering to those people one by one. Sometimes I took jobs during school hours actually, but I would not deliver during the day. It was till evening that I would deliver to some of those people. So that was how I did it, so that I could concentrate on school. Not that I was that serious anyways about school, but I was determined that even if I won't finish with the first class, I must have a 2-1, a very good 2-1, so that when I get out of school, I will still be useful for something. So I did that. Then when it came to cocktails was when I did events, and then I had my principles. Like I had some principles I went by. I did not really like night parties because I always felt that they were unsafe. So I tried to avoid night events. I prefer to do corporate events, like for example conferences, things like that. So I didn't really like night parties. I avoided them. I also avoided things that had me to make alcohol, because have no preference for alcohol, which is a personal thing. Apart from the fact that there are some reasons, personal reasons why I don't take them, and so I just decided to avoid making. So most times I did mocktails, and because the reason why I didn't like making alcohol, because I always wanted to be able to taste the drinks and know how it is, but I don't like taking them, which is not very good for me to take them. So I avoided them. But with time I started making cocktails because I realized, okay, if I know the measurements, if I can calculate everything, I would I'll stick to the measurement, and the cocktails will still be good. And there are some few people that can testify about my cocktails, So yeah, I did majorly corporate events and everything. That is how it went for me. So I did cocktails on this side as another business, had its own name, that was Sip Cocktails, had its own Instagram account, had its own social media and everything. Then I did soup shop. I would take pictures of soup, post it online, tag people, share it and all. So basically what I did was leverage more on my personal connections. So one thing I came to terms with was that I was a bit worried about how my life was in school, because it was pretty, let me use the word, square-ish. And so I wasn't really doing much, while my friends were into the whole faculty thingy. They were being active in the faculty, joining associations, being class reps, doing one thing or the other, being president of this, president of that, SRC, blah 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 blah. I wasn't doing all those things, and I was a bit worried, because I was like, that all those things with this business I'm doing matter after school. Like when I get out of school, will it matter? And so by my 400, 500 level, I was already getting like weary and tired of running a business. That's just the truth. I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. So I found other skills. I think that was when I found, like, I really leveraged on content, right? So I started to do more content writing, so that I could improve myself, like in something that was more career inclined, and also was earning me more. Because the truth is that as much as food business is good business, because people always want to eat, it was because you had to, there's a lot of things you have to account for. You have to account for people's allergies, you have to account for market cost that was constantly going up and coming down, and the market doesn't care. People don't care that tomatoes is now expensive, or vegetable oil is now more expensive. They want you to maintain the same price, the same quality, when every price has changed in this Nigeria, that the market is very volatile. Any small thing like this now, price has gone up. So it was really difficult to manage. At some point it got very frustrating when you're trying to tell your clients that I can't do the price I did for you last time, because first of all, price has gone up. Second of all, I have more people working with me now. I have to pay them. Like, so a lot of things has changed, and you have to account for that. But nobody gets that, especially when you're, especially with a student and the student environment. It's not like they're really, like, they have money like that. So maybe it's not one chief's wedding or birthday that you're doing or something. So it was a bit frustrating, but I kept at it until I actually left uni. Even after I left uni, some months after, I still came to come and do some events, like one or two events, before I finally, I said, you know what, business ends. So I think I'll stop here, and then I'll continue with my next episode, because people have said, oh, my next episode shouldn't be too long. So yes, I'm trying to make this long. So I'll continue in my next episode about what it was like running a business in uni. Bye. Thank you for watching. Please watch the next episode so you can get more.